Good evening all from G8GKQ. Welcome to the Thursday evening BATC Net. I have G4XAT who will be on first, followed by GW7BZY, G0MJW, GI4DOH. Hang on, I just killed some audio that seems to be howling around here. Yeah, that's me monitoring the stream, sorry. GI4DOH, and then Roger, G3IUZ. Welcome back, Roger. So, what's been going on this week? Well, most of you will have received your electronic CQTV, so it's been a fair bit of activity. You'll have seen we've announced a couple of activity ladders in there, one for 70 SEMS, one for 5.6 gigs. Please register for those and get your contacts in there. It'll be good to keep track of how much activity there is. Talking of activity, we've got the activity weekend on 9th and 10th of April, and that's for 70 SEMS and 23 SEMS primarily. Rallies coming up. BATC will be represented at the Norbrook rally on 24th of April. We'll have a publicity table there. But there's a lot going on that weekend with both Maltersham and the Andover rally as well. Good evening to all the watchers. I see we've got Phil, Michael in Spain, and Claudio in Italy. I'm sure lots more. In fact, how many on the stream have we got? 34 stream viewers at the moment. So that's good. So I will talk about what I've been up to when it comes around to my turn at the end. But now let's put it over to 4XAT and the net, G8GKQ.
GKQ. Evening all. I've got my eye on the chat. Forgotten. Thanks, Dave. Thanks to the editor, to CQ. I had a good read through this morning, and had a query about the double bind, which I responded to. Stuff. So, got a few. Is this? If it looks like a few, because it is, it's actually a project of mine started 6 years ago for 3-watt Cree LED 12 volts, or indeed off, whatever you like. And video, okay. Tune stream. Okay, well, I don't know what happened. To G7BZY direct, if you can hear me. Y from G4XAT.
Okay, GW7BZY, hopefully getting through. With a bit of an echo, so I might have to turn the sound down on the TV. Good evening, everybody. Things working fairly well tonight, so far, should I say. Not wanting to tempt too much fate. Have I locked it? Yes, I've locked in them on the stream as well. I'm using my new computer tonight, and to avoid calamities, I'm just using the Phi coder and UDPing it to my other alternative PC, and running DATV Express, and that is connected to Pluto, and that connects to the amplifier. So there's no physical connection between me and my new PC and all the transmit side of it, so which is a good thing, because it goes through the computer isn't even connected to the LAN. Sensitive to yeah, I can see I'm dropping. There's probably a problem with the internet connection within the property. So anyway, there we go. With that, I hand it round. I forget who's next, so to whoever's next.
Okay, well, I'm assuming it's me. That was an excellent picture. I guess you're using 4/5 there, which is possibly a little bit too high for some people. So you might need to go down to 2/3 or 3/4 like I'm running, or up the power a bit. I might be running a little bit more, but I know it's going to drop pretty smartish. Anyway, good evening, everybody. Another week has gone by. I've got a few things to show. And I think, Gareth, your transmission was very broken up, so something's not quite right. But I'm sure you'll get it sorted. Right, let's go to the first one, which is this thing, which is the camera is the Eagle Eye webcam from Polycom, which I think several of us have now got hold of. I think Dave has probably got two. I've got one. Colin has one, I know. I think Martin has one, and Gareth has one. So they work quite well. And at the moment, it is doing the bench cam action. So if I go over to it, you can see what's on the bench, which at the moment is the test setup for those pallets that we were talking about for the past few weeks. And you can see a bird through line there, and one of the pallets, and a schematic of, well, it's actually a dimensional drawing of the thing that I'm going to put my power amplifier front panel onto. And the reason that's there is because the shiny aluminium was blinding the camera otherwise. But if I steer my Polycom in a different direction, and you won't see this because it's currently off screen, but hopefully it'll get there soon. Right, there we go. Are you seeing that? I don't know. Maybe. I need to zoom out a bit, don't I? I tend to be getting in the way of these things as well, but there you go. So there is the thing I was going to show you, which is the now milled out front panel. And if I can zoom in, you can see it's got holes in it and stuff. And that was done on the milling machine that it's sitting on. So there we go. In fact, I'll probably go to the other camera and show you a better picture of that in a minute. And then we'll talk about the amplifiers themselves. So they I've been doing a good job. There we go. So that's a close view of the amplifier. Unfortunately, they will not give 600 watts output. Don't ask how we now know that, but somebody is a little bit upset, and it isn't me. But I guess it's worth testing the limits, considering how many we got. I'm just going to show another picture of this panel from a more sensible direction, so you can get a better view of what it is. It's the way I did it was I etched it out on the router, and the lettering is engraved and then filled up with paint, and that paint's filed off around it so that it ends up looking smooth and flat. And if I go around here, hopefully around, no, not that way. Sorry if you're feeling sick now. No, it's not going to quite fit this thing here. Focus. This goes in the panel. It's not going to focus. It's upside down too, but never mind that. So there we go. But I've shown you that before, and I'm not going to keep going on about it. Lost. Oh, okay. Not sure what's gone wrong there, but I can see my video, so I'll pass it straight on in that case to GI4DOH and see how you're doing and see what's gone wrong with my system. So GI4DOH, over to you, Richard, G0MJW.
G0MJW with the group GI4DOH. Right in. Again, back to the old trying to do things to talk at the same time. I can't manage it. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I had you okay at the start, Mike, on my Winterhill, but not my Ryde receiver, and then went over to the streamer for that. And Gareth, you were quite broken here as well, so obviously not just me. And Peter, yes, very very crisp, clear picture from you there. No issues with that. So yes, very nice. The CQTV magazine. I sat down and read it from cover to cover today. Much better than our local club magazine, which I dispatched this morning, where I managed to have the details for our forthcoming club rally wrong, given that I'm the guy that booked the premises and all the rest. It was a bit inexcusable. I just cut and paste from 2 years ago and forgot to update the day of the month and the year, so had to send an emergency correction out on that. But such is life and all the rest. I can get over it. I hope the members can. And it's yeah, you tell how used I am to doing this. Quite funny looking out the window at the moment. We've actually got daylight here. You know, it's not just we're quite far north, but also the fact that it's British summertime now, and that's quite strange. The UK EI 80 metre CW contest last night didn't start until 9 in the evening. It seems awfully late, but there's a 1 hour contest. It wasn't too bad. I was going to comment on other things. Yes, looking at the Blackpool and Friedrichshafen events, I'm going to be at both of those, and if I can be of assistance, I'd take a turn at manning the stand or something. I'm quite happy to take a share of that. One thing I noted today, looking at the BATC shop, is your polo shirts. It says that they're not being supplied at the moment because of COVID. I wonder if that has changed or is about to change. It'd be nice to have the team colours. I don't actually have one of those at the moment. Mind you, a polo shirt is okay for Friedrichshafen, still possibly a bit on the cool side for Blackpool, but where a sweatshirt would be better. The other thing is because of a well-known ferry company having a having messed about and all the rest, we've had to change ferry company and having to take the Birkenhead ferry from Belfast, which is an 8-hour crossing, which is a much longer crossing. But in fairness, so a lot less riding at the other end, so it's swings and roundabouts on that. So apart from that, it's probably last week. It was Mike. You were showing the nice IP65 or is it even 66 enclosure, completely heat sink, and the rest. I got one of those because the plan is with the EME stuff to move up to 13 centimeters at some stage, and cable losses start getting a bit excessive, and I need to really sort of co-locate or locate the amplifier as close to the dish as possible. And to that end, I'm busy constructing a G4 DDK DLNA for 13 centimeters, much the same as the 23 centimeter one that I have in use at the moment. I noticed that my soldering around the tin plate box isn't as good as the last one I did. I think the fact that I was tired and hungry at the time had a bearing on that. So enough from me. I'll pass it around to you, Roger. I wonder what exciting things you've got. It's always a wonder to look at what you've been up to. So G3 IUZ with the BATC Net. This is GI4 DOH.
Nightmare. I think I'm there. Yeah, sorry, chaps. I was late on, so I'd got everything I thought ready, except I think it's. I saw. with Roger, IUZ on the satellite. So I think Roger said it was your first proper two-way. That's gone logbook as well, and also spoke to for SDG. That was his first ever QSO on DATV on Oscar 100, but having some cameras and things constantly bleeped by G4 might soldering the soldering Richard, so I'm sure that's fine. Right. I will put it round to you, Dave. I think you're next. Yeah. So apologies for the late arrival, rubbish preparation as well. So I'll put it round to you though, and hopefully I'll be a bit more organised on the next over. G8GKQ, G4FKK stand.
Oh well, clearly not. I'll take my over now, and then we'll put it round to Michelle, Keith, and second tries for both Gareth and Roger. No problem, Michelle. No problem. Right, Gareth. Yeah, you had TS problems, and I think that was probably the half/2/3 FEC. Peter, very good picture. I did see one break up, but I don't know whether that was you or somebody coming up on top of you. There's no real problem with running network cables around, because as far as I'm concerned, they're DC isolated. I might be wrong there. Somebody will probably correct me, but I think network cables are DC isolated, so you won't get any surges through them, or not surges to worry about anyway. Mike, that panel looked really good. Yeah, I was just commenting on the fact that you seem to have lost the camera somewhere in the carpet. Too much zoom. But that panel looked nice. Mike, on your next over, could you show me your 5-inch Portsdown inner die-cast box? I'm about to build one, and I'd just like to see it before I start cutting metal. I did see it rush past in the camera, so if you could show me that, that would be useful. Richard, I'll talk to you about Friedrichshafen. May well take you up on your offer there. Polo shirts. We do have a problem with polo shirts at the moment, so they're unlikely to be available in the near future. I'll make some inquiries. I wonder where you got the DDK LNA from. I take it it's been in the box for a while, because as I understand it, it's not doing them anymore. Okay, I've been playing with Portsdown. I've done a Portsdown release. There's a development release out which supports the Polycom Eagle Eye mini cameras that everybody's been playing with. So if you want to play with those, there's a development release for them. The production release with the web control is also out there. I've also played with the Polycom camera on the Jetson, and some of you will have seen my pictures from that. I'm not using that tonight, I'm using the C920. A few things to show you. Let's just queue up some pictures here. Excuse the break. Here we go. Let's take that one off, put that one on, and then that'll look professional when it gets there. I've been putting out a few of these today. All the UK participants should have them. And all the Austrian participants, I'm working my way down the list. Haven't sent the Swiss ones out yet, Michelle. So don't feel left out, it'll get you in the end. The other thing I've been playing with is, I mentioned last week about my flat tuner. I can only show you a photo of it because it's actually back in the rack doing the streaming tonight, which is actually working. I keep checking it. I think, yep, it's still there. Yeah. So that is a half-width 1U rack box with a mini tuner. You can see the dismantled mini tuner on the right-hand side there, which again is wired. A tuner, a four-way distribution box, a satellite distribution box at the back, and an 8-way switch, and associated power supplies and switching. So that is my portable receive system. So you can come in on any band into that, switched from the front panel, 2 USB leads out to a ports down, and you can receive either DVB-T or DVB-S with no pluggery. And also it takes a monitor output to a ports down running band viewer. So that's the sort of luxury receive system. Let's get rid of that. Back to the camera. Tuner box, Polycom, contest certificates, ports down release. That's all I had to say. So let's go back. We'll go to Michelle next. Then we will go to Keith. And then if Gareth... Actually, then we'll go to Keith. Then we'll go to Roger. And then to Gareth, and we're back at the top of the list. So, oh right, Michelle not ready. Okay. Keith, let's go for you. GU6EFB and the net G8GKQ.
Yeah, good evening all. Sorry about that. Teach me to have the QO100PA, same circuit. I managed to trip it. Been a busy week, flying around, doing lots of work.
I hear the fans, therefore it is me. Okay, I've got my eye on the chat, so please do shout if it's horrible. This is the Polycam USB, which is really a lovely bit of kit for the money. I mean, 15 quid, it's got a zoom, as you can see, and all sorts of other fancy things to fiddle with. Okay, what I was showing earlier, and apologies for getting the digits wrong, I do wish both bits of software would remember the settings. Anyway, okay, so what we got here is a series parallel pair of Cree X-lamp 3 watt LEDs, so 12 watts of light, with a little switch mode buck supply, and a switch to select high and low. And basically it's a portable light for hanging off my tailgate. Okay, it's not my audio, that's alright. 1056, I believe, is the code for a drunken pedestrian, which would look something like this. Okay, your lettering is nice and tidy, Mike, and rather smart. That's the Q100 PA, which I did in fluorescent plastic. It's not going to sit, is it? Yes, it is. There we go. Well, that's why it's a 1056 cam. Okay. Right, so you've seen the light. Let's swap cameras. Oh, I don't need that. I need Polycom. There we go. Transition there. Okay, what we're looking at here is my build on the 70SEMS Beast amplifier, as I've named it. I reckon I bought this heatsink 30 years ago, and I bought it. It might have been at it was at a microwave round table for the oldies amongst us, and I think I'd come back from Harlexton Manor, possibly. I'd certainly been somewhere. Maybe it wasn't there. I think it was Harlexton. But anyway, it's sat in the come in use for one day pile. So let's have a closer look at that. That little beastie there is an amp from a Nokia Dolphin, and that works best on 10 volts and gives a very nice bandpass of 30 megs. Nothing escapes either side of that. Okay, so what we have here is the pallet lid. That is one of those 7 watt 12 volt amps. So the idea is that will fit in near there. I'll take the SMAs off it. Closer a watt, both ends. So although it's a plastic box, the high power RF bits are sealed, and then we've got a DC power plug and some LEDs on there. Now that's what that all is, and that's looking good. I think it's looking very good even. There we go. Oops, that one. Anyway, thinking like I do, I'm not sure whether this is a good idea or not, but you may have heard of the Spectrian amplifier boards for 13SEMS being repurposed into big PAs on 23, and the chap who popularised that is W6PQL, which is here. And if I transition that, okay, now that's his PCB. So I messaged him and said, do you think the devices in our pallets would work? And he said, well, why bother? This one here is designed for the frequency. Well, it is and it isn't, as it turns out. So I looked up the data sheets for the the BLF 888A, and it's rated up to 1 gig and 600 watts sort of DC input at least. And the transistor he's using is rated up to 1.3 gig, very similar power. One of them's made by NXP and the other's made by Amplion. Anyway, his PCB looks just like the 1300 meg demo board on their data sheet. But you can see where I'm thinking here. I know it's out of spec, but whoever let a spec worry them. So I'm sort of wondering whether that might be a really easy route to lots of moon bounce power on 23. Okay, right, I'm not done yet, so let me share you this picture. That is the spectrum of the Nokia Dolphin when driven with, the Nokia Dolphin preamp when driven with a Pluto at a -3, I think. You can get a little bit more out of it, but it just brings the shoulders up, so there's not really much point. Now, I reckon that's quite acceptable, 45 dB shoulders by amateur standards, or more specifically by my standards. I'd say that's pretty good. Following on is a picture of our cat. It's actually a black cat on a black sofa, but she's photographed quite well. And this, ladies and gentlemen, should there be any ladies, this little cherub popped up on the local freebie cycle group, and I got there first. It's a Hercules cycle, 1955 until 1958. It's got a Jack 49cc engine, and it's a moped. And where the engine's seized, that won't pose much of a challenge because it's a Jack 49cc. So that's going to keep me busy, just for a change. So, I think I got my money's worth that over. I hope it was all watchable and legible. Yes, that will look good. Right. Yeah, we know spec never bothered you, Jim. That's why I thought I'd give it a go. So, I wonder if the board will even go up there. As it is, the one with the A device on. Anyway, I'm waffling. Right, top of the list now. So Dave's been, it's me. So GW7BZY to pick it up from G4 X80. I'll just stick the test card on and count to 5. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, how are we getting out? Comprehend C. I don't know if it's working. Is it breaking up or what? I don't know. Wow. Some reason. Yeah. At some point it's returning to a picture. Or maybe not. Okay, fascinating stuff. It's good to see all the amplifiers getting it together. I'll have a little play. I don't know why it's not showing an image and why it's fixed onto that. I don't know. I imagine it was because the free streamer hasn't had a signal. And it's frozen. Is it going to work? Okay.
Okay, good evening all. Very pleased to be BATC Net. Oula. So tonight is the premiere for me. I'm running the what I've called all-in-one, which is a completely integrated solution running on my desktop. You see here, it's running Linux, Ubuntu, and on it I've installed SDR Angel, OBS, and I'm connected to my Etus D200 box. Pictures as just, so I hope it's not an issue. So I have a laptop running with 8 CPUs. It's quite a powerful laptop, and the encoding is done completely on software. Unfortunately, it's an old PC, and at the time the NVIDIA card didn't have the possibility to encode and decode. So it's really done with software, and I'm quite surprised because it works quite nicely. Actually, I have around 30% utilization of the power of the laptop, and I'm running at 30 frames per second. So the goal of it is to design a portable station with a minimum of equipment. I still have some issues with the mic. Right now I'm using the mic of the laptop, which is not too good. But anyway, this is running quite nicely. Okay, so that's all for me. I just would like to say thank you to Dave and the team behind him for the publication of the review, which is always very nice to receive, and to have published my small article on the transparent repeaters using the Pluto. I'm right now also looking at the Lime SDR Mini. I think that is, he has also the possibility to look back, receive to transmit, but it's not as easy as with the Pluto. Okay, so I'm going to give back the floor to G0 Mike Juliet Whiskey. This is Hotel Bravo 9, Delta Uniform Golf in Vic, near the Geneva Lake, giving back the floor with a 10-second delay because everything is in software.
Oh. You could have said these words, just with someone there. Again. Okay, apologies, all right. Okay, so PW7 being advice, I'll go to the station is myself. I also in fact testing a little bit earlier, bit of audio sounds particularly ropey, doesn't it? I think it's actually a bit trying to keep it 2020 back onto HD, very talented. It seems to be working. For the audio sounds particularly nasty. At least at my machine end, but anyhow. So, I'm going to keep this up to short, and apologies for Debbie. I was 2 minutes to come on again, but since I haven't said anything, I won't do. Yeah, okay, about the DC not been a problem with the electronic network, so I'll keep that in mind, and then I'll get a research, not a research, but a picture, and that way I won't have to go, well, if I do go all the way back to the research would be hardwired, at least, rather than one side working RF and the other side working hardwired. I'm not really in danger of killing the PC again, which is a bad news, a bad day. Not happy times whatsoever. Luckily, on the warranty and PC World, or whatever they call themselves now, fixed it for me. And I had to go back and get the hard drive restored because it seemed to have disappeared off the system. My 2 hard drives and one seemed to be not there. So anyway, they sorted out and they're working well now, and I think it actually works quite well in HD compared to 1024 by 526. So maybe the company encoder works better at HD because it's designed for optimize around that one. So with that, I have it down. So thank you again for the I will keep on working, but I won't be becoming a great issue for that. I doubt, but that is it from PW7 being probably until next week or the week after. So hopefully I'll have to with that PW7 be red one. I've got quite a message from me, but probably that the Wi-Fi path might not be too stable. I'm going to have to pick it up. There we go.
Now, I do hope I'm in business now. Have I got audio? At last. Oh dear, apologies everybody. This is exactly the same problem I had a couple of weeks ago. Life is never simple. Who said something about trouble further up the chat? Anyway, sorry about all that. I'm still very puzzled about this. In fact, I was going to raise it as an issue, well, not exactly an issue, but a puzzlement of this still very much green newcomer to DATV and all its machinations and mysteries. I can't find any way, so far I haven't anyway, so please enlighten me. How can you check that there is audio on the transport stream coming out of OBS? Because during both of my previous transmissions, which were visual but no audio, I had exactly the same problem. It all looked absolutely fine on the screen. I touched nothing, changed nothing since I did a live test about 7:30 because of this problem. that I've had before, and it all worked fine. And as Martin remarked, I had a very nice one-to-one QSO with him the other day, no problem. And that was followed, Martin, by a very excellent half hour with a new station, new ZS station in Johannesburg, which was my first proper contact with South Africa via the satellite. So I was really very chuffed with that. He's joined the other two that are seen pretty frequently on the satellite, and he's fairly recently, Henry is his name, ZS, now what is it, ZS2MC I think it is. Anyway, that's by the by. So how do we, although the mixer on OBS is showing a perfectly good audio signal, so the mic appears to be live, yet somehow it's not getting onto the transport stream. I restarted both OBS and the free stream, the F1 EJP, and that didn't solve it last time. So this time I shut everything down, including the ports down, and restarted everything. And I'm now using, I was using the Bluetooth mic, which I again restarted, but that didn't seem to do it. So I'm now using the mic on the headset, as you can see. And nobody's complaining at the moment. So I guess someone said hurrah. Yes, sorry, I hadn't looked at the thing. Read out. Yeah, I see your audio meter. That's an OBS thing, though, isn't it? The audio meter. I've seen that as an add-on on the OBS, but does it still actually tell you you've got output? That's the thing that I'm querying, when everything else seems to say that yes, you have got output. Anyway, let's leave that aside. Let me answer some questions. First of all, Peter, if you're still around, yeah, nice picture, very nice tonight. So I don't think we've met before. GW7BZY. Mike, I've already congratulated you the other day when we exchanged on your excellent CNC with that little machine. I think you've got a remarkably good result. Mine is mine weighs about half a ton. No, that's probably an exaggeration. Yes, I've tried vMix, and that seems to work all right. But it's been working fine on OBS for quite a while. And my absence has been over the last few weeks has been due to problems with the dish, which I finally sorted out, and everything for post-storm. So, but I finally got that. I think I've got that sussed. So that's that. And the other question I think from you, Mike, was on the loop behind me. And perhaps you'll tell Colin if I think he said he wasn't going to be around tonight, but it's 54mm tubing, that is, not 22. He thought it was 22. No, that's 54. That was an experiment. Yeah, I'm using F1 EJP. Yes, that's okay. I've just seen your thing, Mike, Michelle. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, 54mm, yeah, 2-inch, you're quite right, with a 5 kV vacuum cap at the top for tuning. And it's tuned, I can just show you how it's tuned. It's tuned all automatically by this, which I built up to the design by Lofter John Hansen, TF3LJ. He wrote up both the power meter, which I built, which is there, that's that, and then this is the automatic tuner, so it changes bands and does everything. So that's very clever and remembers all the frequencies you've tuned it to. So there we are. So that's the big loop at the back. Right, that's more than enough for me. And now what? I've got Martin down here. What was I going to say to Martin? Oh, I think it was just to say, well, yeah, what a nice QSO we had, Martin, and hope you've sorted out that the jewel with jewel in that watch with the hole in the wrong place. Right, that's enough for me. Now, who the dickens does it go to now? Oh, I've completely lost track. I'm sure someone knows. So G3I, you said passing it to whoever is next.
Okay. Thank you, Roger. That was really good, actually. Nice, a nice over from you. Once we got it working, or once you got it working. This is by request of Dave. Hopefully, I've got audio. I can see the meter going up and down. But the meter that I showed, I think you on screen meter. I think you can tie it to the audio output, so at least it tells you that audio is coming out of OBS. So maybe that would help. I don't know. Maybe we need to ask Dominic to add a sort of a preview window or an audio window to his software. I suppose that could be done. Right. Anyway, I don't know if that's long enough, Dave, for you to have a look at that. This is the 5-inch screen in a die-cast box, an ex-Paplin die-cast box, in fact, and it's sitting on. Oops. Oh, did you see that? It did that brightening up of the screen thing that it does sometimes. This is the board it's sitting on, which is the one that I designed to just plug on the top and put a D-type connector to avoid all that tedious wiring. So what it also shows though is this webcam, and Gareth gave you a sort of an idea about this, because that's been zoomed, so I can move it about, you know, look at different things on the bench. Nothing's moving here. It's just the camera in zoom mode, of course, can see more and zoom in on the picture, which is really quite handy if you want to do stuff. And the other thing is it's quite good quality when it's doing that. So you don't lose a lot of resolution when you zoom in and out. So zooming in there and moving left and right is really a challenge for the codec here, but there you go. This is the device that Jim was talking about with his late lamented BLF 888 on it. But I think maybe, you know, try one of those other transistors. You never know, it might work. There's nothing to lose really. Because I think they're dirty too. Anyway, I'm going to go back to the default settings on this one. Autofocus is not one of the defaults, but it focuses really, really quickly, which is really handy. So they're definitely worth getting if you happen to come across one at the right price. Right. Apart from that, a few comments. Gareth, that heatsink looked good. I assume when you're talking about the Beast, you mean one of these pellets. I'm planning to use the casement box that Colin was showing earlier on his channel. I'm planning to use one of those. It's downstairs at the moment. The panel that I was showing on the camera is actually one of those. And if I go back to the Polycom and rotate it, you can probably tell. I always turn it the wrong way. So let's see if I can. I always get it wrong. That's the test setup, by the way, that I was using to do those measurements, and I think I showed those last week. If I didn't show those last week, then I can show them again, but everyone's going to get really bored, probably, of 180 watts of DVB-T, and the quality that we were getting of that was really quite good. But if you can see that against the mill, it's the front, or actually it's the rear panel of one of those casement boxes that I decided to test on. And apart from the obvious error that's difficult to see unless you know it's there, it did cut through that very hard aluminium relatively easily, but it took a heck of a long time. Right, okay, back to me, and then onwards and over, so to speak. Who is it next? It's Richard, GI4DOH. Oh, and that dish, by the way, Richard, looks really good, and I'm sure it's gone dark now in Northern Ireland, because it went dark here some while ago, but a bit further south and quite a lot further east. GI4DOH, G0MJW.
G0MJW with the group GI4DOH. Yes, indeed, it is dark. To the point that you think I'd know when I get the volume down. To the point that I actually moved the other camera in, thinking I don't want the neighbours wondering what this blue light pointing out of the window is, with the C920 camera with the little blue LED things on either side. So I'm 5.69 degrees west or something like that. So that's about 22 minutes. I think 15 degrees is an hour. So 22 minutes sort of behind Greenwich. But in reality, Bristol is probably not far off that, and further north as well. So yeah, there's a bit of a difference, and much more noticeable once we get to the longest day. It really is long here, and look forward to it coming as well. It's certainly been nice having the clocks going forward and seeing a bit more daylight and all the rest. All good fun. It is on the fine on the issue of the polo shirts and all the rest. Fair enough. On the DDK VLNAs, I think it might be worth your while speaking to Sam. I think Sam is aware of the fact that he's dropping all the other things, but I think he's well aware of the fact that the amateur radio community needs them. As far as VLNAs are concerned, it is the amplifier of choice. The serial numbers on both of mine are over the 2000 mark, and it's not very long that I got those in. That it would have been the end or start of the year, early in the year. In fact, he was waiting for boxes for the tin plate boxes to come in. So I would talk to him about that. I think you might find that the VLNAs could well be available. Not from me. Don't tell him I sent you. But, yeah, I think he knows that we need him on that. Gareth, it's a very nice presentation of your little unit there. It's quite stylish with the feet and all the rest. You know, it's not just practical. It looks good as well. And Roger, glad you got things sorted there. It's always a bit of a nightmare. OBS wanted to do an update when I switched on the PC earlier, and it was shall I, shan't I, and I did, and I got away with it. But always the fear there are so many things. And I must poke around a bit more, things like level control I haven't really tampered with much, and ways of measuring or checking. I know there's a lot on the web about that. Yeah, the only other thing focus is, oh yeah, well, it's sitting in front of me. The instructions for making the VLNAs for the tin plate boxes, that the instructions tell you to use a vernier scribe to describe a line to mark the hole where the incoming SMA solders directly onto the board. It's not focusing, but I found that on eBay a few weeks ago. Saying this is my second VLNA, there could be more. So for next to nothing, it's well worth having that. You have to be careful you don't stab yourself, but they do provide protection for that. But I added that to my collection. Roger, you seem to have everything engineering-wise, but this is all new ground for me, and even the most basic things are a delight. I won't be around for the activity day on my notes tonight. On 10th of April, because it clashes with the GMDX convention. be going over for that. It's been a year or two since I was there. I've always enjoyed that, so that's coming up. I can get there faster than a lot of people because I just hop on an aeroplane to Glasgow, and then it's 16 miles up the road or something like that. Whereas people travel for hours and hours and hours, so it's easy for me. So enough from me at this end. Yeah, I don't see anything else that triggers anything there. I wish you all good night. I won't be around next week because it's our club meeting. Funny enough, it's yours truly doing a talk on EME, and I sort of talked myself into that. But as chairman, I have to lead the way. First real meeting for a couple of years, so that should be good. I think I haven't got the right screen in front of me. I think it's round to Martin now. G4FKK with the BATC group. This is GI4DOH. Good night, all.
Yeah, very good, Richard. G4FKK returning. Yeah, lip sync is, as Peter noticed, lip sync is slightly out again. Let's have a look. That's weird, isn't it? I don't know if that's a specifically OBS thing, Peter, but it might be. Yeah, your audio, Peter, was very garbled. It may have been a bitrate mismatch, as Mike was suggesting. It sounded a bit to me like you got two sources slightly out of phase, or two digital sources slightly out of phase. So it was very muffled and garbled. But the picture was terrific, so that's got to be good. Dave, GKQ, the flat tuna looks very good. You seem to have squeezed a lot into that pint pot, so that's very good. The new version of Portsdown seems to be working well here. I'm running it on a 7-inch screen at the moment because the 5-inch screen is currently a Ryde receiver. And thank you and all the contributors for CQTV this month. Your bit, Michelle, was very interesting as well. Keith, snow in Guernsey? That can't happen that often, or does it? I do remember getting fogged in on Jersey once for several days. Actually, we couldn't fly out, so, which was great because we were enjoying it over there. It did snow here actually today earlier on. Gareth, that moped looks very good, and I'm going to try. I might be able to pop round tomorrow, Gareth, and pick up the T&K bracket and the other bits and bobs. So I hope you got it working by tomorrow, and we can whiz around the block with no helmet on, like all the young lads seem to do round here. Michelle, yeah, your all-in-one looks absolutely fantastic. I wish I could do stuff like that on Linux or anything else. Come to that, and the laptop audio, it sounded like laptop audio, but it was perfectly audible. So that's got to be good. Yeah, Roger, I'm not sure. I mean, I can check the audio here, but really, that's only telling me. Let's see if I've got it now. PPN. It's only really telling me that there's audio in the PC. Let's put it on M&S. Oh, I'm not sure it proves that it's actually getting to the transport stream necessarily. You can analyse it, etc. Yeah, I'm not going to pedal it around the block, Gareth. I want that 49cc engine going, HI. Yeah, so I don't quite know how you can do that. Dave will know, I'm sure. Yeah, I've worked Henry a couple of times actually. I think it's ZS1 Mike Charlie, isn't it? He's a very interesting fella, putting out a good. You know, he's been getting there for some months now, so I think he's done a good job there. No, I need to find a new jewel. That's beyond repair. I've also need a new set of tools to extract the existing jewel, put the new one in, and then fix it in place. You need special jeweling tools for that. I have just out of interest. It's a good thing with watches, if you like tools and that sort of thing. But if I get the unsteady cam out and do that, this is a little box of tools that I received fairly recently. The box was completely knackered, so I'm quite pleased with that. I've rebuilt the box and the insides of it as well. But inside is a what's called a staking set. So that was reasonably expensive, but not nearly as expensive as a brand new one. And it seems to have got pretty much all the stakes and dies and things. So very pleased with that. And I say the inside of it was a complete mess, as was the outside of the actual box. Anyway, so if you like collecting tools, then watch and clock making is a good thing to do, because you need loads of them. But I need another thing that looks very similar to a staking set, which is a jeweling kit, jeweling tool, and there's loads more gubbins in that. Mike, your port's down in the Eddystone box. Well, I'm going to call it an Eddystone box. I'm sure it isn't anymore, but it looks really good. I think I've got a box about that size. And your mini polycam looks very good. Mine just looks very fuzzy to me. But it does focus up very quickly, does it? And yeah, it's quite good, and I've got mine zoomed in to sort of fill the screen. And as you say, you can pan it up and down without it moving, which is quite clever. But I'm still using the big Polycom at the moment. Yeah, Richard, I hate the clocks going forward. I think we should stay on GMT for the whole year, personally. I had a friend of mine once who thought we should be on double British summertime. That really would finish me off, I think. But, it was bad enough being late for nets and things before the clocks went forward, but all of a sudden it's time to go to bed. I don't know why people think you get extra daylight. You just don't. It's just time to go to bed an hour earlier. Anyway, good luck with your club talk. I'm sure that'll go very well. I wonder if you'll be streaming that on Tinternet, Richard. Right, who does it go round to next? It goes round to Keith. So hopefully you're not snowed in, Keith. I'll just put a quick test card up. But nice to see you all this evening, and thanks for putting up with my rambling. And round to you, Keith. GU6EFB in the group G4FKK.
G4FKK, G6EFB. Yeah, thanks for that, Martin. All very interesting. And Jersey, fogged in? Well, you will go to those foreign places. What do you expect? Yeah, thanks to the BATC team for the very interesting CQ TV magazine, which I downloaded the other day and started reading through it. Very interesting indeed. Yeah, I've done the ports down update there. Thanks, Dave. Again, that all worked okay. Yeah, Dave, your rack there, I'm not quite sure how you managed to squeeze all that kit in, but certainly looks very interesting indeed. And yeah, I wasn't aware of those polycoms there, so thanks for all the information. And thanks for the web link you put up there, Mike. I'll take a look at that indeed, and yeah, find out a little bit more about it. Yeah, I would like one of those larger Polycom units, but I don't know where I'd put it. I had to tidy up the shack the other day as it was. Thrown a lot of stuff out, which was junk really, and put extra shelves in the cupboard, and yeah, the cupboard's still closed just, but it still seems as full as ever. Everything just seems to have moved around a little bit. So yeah, XYL was telling me I need to build a bigger shack, so I might take her up on that. Okay, that's all from here. It's still snowing. It does snow here in Guernsey, not very often, and it doesn't usually stay very long. But what happens is we get a few millimeters of snow and it freezes in the skating rink, and we can't put any kind of salt or on it. To wait for its course, and the reason for that is Guernsey, the whole of catchment. Okay. Veg.
Thanks very much, Keith. GU6EFB, G8GKQ. Okay, Keith, one comment. Your audio is slightly lower than everybody else. Audio levels is a constant bugbear, and I've been having problems this evening, so I'm not sure mine's quite right. But anyway, Roger, I run a separate, I suppose it's a third receiver in the shack on 2400975, as Roger Jed HKN has suggested, and that permanently runs, so I can see if my video's frozen, and if I turn up the audio I can hear the audio on it, but that comes of having too much gear. The receiver rack unit was a real squeeze. The top panel, I had to put insulation on the inside of the top panel because it actually touches the top PCB and pushes it down. But anyway, it will run and it is safe, so that was it. I think the diecast box version of Portsdown with the 5-inch screen is going to be a another squeeze. Very impressed with yours, Mike. I'm not sure whether you're going to be able to see that. No, you probably can't. Mine is a real Eddystone diecast box, bought at a rally some time ago, that it's going to go into. I've marked out the lid for the screen. Next thing to do is make the square hole to put the touch screen in the lid. But the 5-inch screen on mine doesn't flash bright, it flashes off. I don't know why, it just does it occasionally, and it seems to do it when the Pi is under high load, and I'm not sure how good the power supply I was testing it on is, so maybe it's a power issue, I'm not sure. Martin and Mike, question for you, what do you use to do the zooming and panning on the Polycom cameras? I have not really played with that. I don't really know how to do it, so I just wonder how you're doing it. Gareth and Martin, the quality of your Polycoms, it certainly isn't as good as it could be. I wonder what quality you are capturing them at in the OBS or vMix setup. I capture mine at 1080p and then downsample in vMix in OBS when I use it. So that's the issue with the quality there. I tend to use by default 720p on transmissions because it just works. Although I do view on and the stream in I do view in 1080p on one of the receivers here, and then stream that out on 720p on the BATC stream. Talking of which, the BATC stream tonight had 52 viewers at its peak. I think that's probably because Noel mentioned it in the CQTV distribution email, so really good to see lots of people watching tonight. I'll have a play with properties on the Polycom cameras. This was on the USB one. Okay, I think that's it. I hope I haven't left anybody out. We've been jumping around the order a bit to try and make sure everybody got to go, even with technical issues. But I'm really pleased everybody has come on, and don't worry about the technical issues. That's why we do the net, to make it better. So thanks very much for coming on, everybody, and look forward to talking to you next week. G8GKQ, closing the BATC net and leaving the frequency clear. Good night all.
I hear the fans. Right, okay, I'd like another go, please. So let's get some humanoid presence. Here we are. Okay, Dave, you asked about my resolutions. Let me see what I've got. I can't change it because I'm using it. So base resolution is 1920 by 1080. Output resolution is 1280 by 720. I probably need to look at that, but I'll get Martin to talk to me about that, perhaps. Okay. Right. What else have I got? Yeah, well done on getting it in that box. I usually leave stuff a bit more room, but since the pallet was the size of the heatsink, less a few millimetres, I couldn't find a really nice fitting die-cast box. So I just bought a plastic one. Since it's screened, I like to think that it'll be okay, but of course I'll let you know. Mike, I noticed you've got a bird through-line dummy load. I wonder if it's known good above 2.4 gigahertz or even any good at 2.4. Be interested to hear that. Generators, right, hang on, I'll find the page. Screw fix. Transition, right. I've got a nice little two-stroke one. It's actually quite quiet and it sits there burbling away. It'll do about 650 watts. And it's reasonably economical. It'll go most of the day on a gallon or so. But I was looking at inverter generators, and they are, it seems, notoriously unreliable. As in, not the engines, but the actual electronic giblets. So I was looking at this and thinking, well, there's no point in buying the £189 one, because it's the same power output as my two-stroke. But that other one, the 270 quid one, 1200 watts, that would certainly cover any issues I may ever have in terms of portable power. Okay, so that's enough of that. Next up is, let me just do that. Right, you've heard about the kitchen. Well, he fitted all the panels that we made last week, and here it is. Alright, here's a video, it should play. So here we go. Okay, so here's all the bits and pieces. That's all one bit, that tile. It was a bit of a joy cutting that. And the units are from IKEA, for what that's worth. I shall now revert from that. Cancel that and make sure I'm still transmitting. Yeah, Clark inverters are unreliable, yeah. That's what I came to the conclusion of. You know, you read the write-ups on it, and it's not very promising. Aldi do a two-stroke 700 watt, but once again, no points, even though it's an inverter. How long? I don't know really. It's only really my extremely powerful amplifiers that need 50 volt, unless I'm out in the camper. Yeah, I mean, my two-stroke really is quiet. It really is very, very quiet. It's as good as a suitcase. You know, you put it down the end of an extension lead somewhere and you're barely aware of it running. Much quieter than any other two-strokes I've seen of that style. Right. Okay, finally from me, microwave round table. What sort of test gear have they got? I mean, I've read that they've got noise factor and all sorts of clever stuff like that. I'd like to know, can they test high-powered linears in terms of what the output is, and or test my limited test gear to see if it's accurate, mostly at frequencies other than the one I'm working on. Sorry, other than frequencies it's rated for, I should say. Okay, that's it now. You'll be glad to hear I'm going to shut up and put the test card back on, and wish you all well. Great evening's work. Loads of interesting stuff. Hopefully next week I'll have some action on the 77s front. Before I go, I've just remembered something. Activity week next week, Saturday late afternoon, evening, I can do something from the Chilterns. If anybody knows a good site where you can drive to, and it's got a reasonable takeoff, preferably for tripod-based stuff, but I could do 77s from there as well. Failing that, I'll be on Burton Dassett Hills on Sunday, hopefully all day, unless it's miserable weather. So that's it from me. 7-3's all. See you next time. Cheers.